nothing major. And it has nothing to do with my music. It has nothing to do with my talent show. It has nothing to do with anything other than this. Life is weird. Life is strange, but it's beautiful at the same time. And it's just like there's so many things that take place in life where it's just like, man, why is this happening? I have that question quite often. I have a different perspective now behind that. I still ask why. I can't lie. I still ask why, but it's not because I, even if I am confused, it's not because of the confusion. It's because I'm trying to get to the source, the root of why, in terms of what God is trying to instill in me through those situations. Because there's many situations that we will go through that we don't understand. There's people that we'll meet that we don't understand. There's situations that we'll be in that we don't understand. And these situations that will often sometimes even be so messed up. And you just like, dang, like, why me? Right? Why not you? God used people like Moses to completely overthrow an entire kingdom, a false king, the Pharaoh. One man God used, and many others, and of course, obviously, at some point, he used Moses to gather others together. But it started with one man. The credit doesn't go to that man, but I'm just saying, the same way it was one man that built a false kingdom, it's the same way that God used one man to destroy that same kingdom. God can use anybody, any way, anyhow that he sees fit. Anyway, anyway, anyhow he sees fit, he's going to get it done. He's going to get it done. So in those moments of confusion, when there's confusing situations where you're just like, wow, like, why is this happening? Don't ask why it's happening. Ask, what is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to instill in me? What is God trying to use you for? Because the same way it could be a messed up situation and it could be scary and it could be confusing and it could be just all kinds of chaos going on. It's the same way God can bring things together and he can fix things, he can shape things, he can mold things into something better. I'm not coming on here to try to preach or nothing like that. It's just I'm going through something and it's a lot of little revelations taking place. And it's just like I'm sitting here thinking what is happening, right? And it's just like so much confusion. But I know that despite confusion, there is always God can use even chaos and confusion. God can use even this to bring truth, to bring clarity, to bring peace, to bring his will. A lot of things we don't understand, and sometimes we're not meant to understand a lot of things. He understands it. That's all that matters. But when you're surrendered and you submit, when you are submissive to God and his will, no matter what's going on, you're not going to sweat the details of what he places, where he places you. You're not going to, you just stay in position. Just stay open to whatever position he's to move you towards. it's real easy to get off track. It's real easy to lose sight of the mission. Even if you don't know what the mission is, even if you don't know what the goal is, even if you don't know what the outcome is. So often we want to know what the outcome of something is so bad, so desperately. That's not our job. It's not our job to know what the outcome is. It's not our job to know everything. But we are a part of the mission. And God can use any of us any way that He sees how and He sees fit. God will use the least to do the most. He will use the least of those who are seen as the underdog, those that are seen as less than, those that are seen as minute. He will use people, the least expected, to do the most. Because He knows that the root of the problem is most of the time someone who feels that they are the most, or bigger than the program, or bigger than the mission. That's the problem. When we become bigger than the mission, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when we get in God's way. And sometimes God will use the least to overthrow that very problem that thinks that it's the most. He is the most high. He is the most high. There is no one over God. There is no one bigger than God. There is no one greater than God. God is the biggest. God is expandable. God cannot be dis- God cannot be boxed in. He can't be minimized. He can't even be understood. We don't even truly understand God. But you can know Him. You can know God. You may not fully understand Him, but you can know who God is. And even if you don't know everything about Him, you can still know God. It is when we think we know everything that things fail and things falter and things fall apart. We only know so much. We can only do so much. That's why it's important to stay humble. Humility is one of the greatest things you could ever be. One of the greatest ways you could ever be. It's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. Being humble is not easy, but it's one of the greatest things that you could ever be. It's going to save your life to be humble. It will literally save your life to be humble, to be surrendered to God, to submit to God, to obey God is to be humble, is to save your life. It's to save your relationship with Him. Again, I'm not here to preach. It's just, I just started sitting here thinking to myself and all these different things that I'm seeing that's being brought to my awareness. I had to come on here and say this because it needs to be said. Lest we forget, it needs to be said. If man was really as powerful as, now don't get me wrong, we are divine beings that God has created. But it's oftentimes when we put the power in the hands of the creation over the creator, when we fall short. We have so much potential, but sometimes often that potential can go to our heads and it can be over oversaturated. Like, humility is so important. It is so important. It is so important. And I don't know what it is, but I always find myself coming across individuals attached to certain things that, like this cult type of stuff, and I'm just so over it. It's just like fanatic type of environments, and I almost always get pulled into it because I come with pure intentions. I come with a pure perspective of something, and naively think that that environment is of the same type of energy or same type of focus, and that's not the case. And this is how people get pulled into the wrong things. This is how people get manipulated. But you have a choice whether to think for yourself or to let somebody else do it for you. And if I'm going to let anybody think for me, it's going to be God, because he knows all. So until then, I'm going to think for myself and put it in God's hands. I don't know what it is, but I always find myself like attracting certain environments or people or situations that has some kind of fanatic cult type of something to it. And I just know that it's got to be because God has a calling for me, and he's testing me. He's testing me to see if I really trust him, if I really believe in his word, if I really believe what he says. Because if I don't believe in what he says, the biggest indication of that is that I'm going to believe what somebody else is saying. When you don't trust in God and you don't believe in God, you're going to believe everybody and everything else. That's why I believe in relationship over religion. And religion ain't always about Christianity. Religion can be anything. I believe in relationship with God, and that has nothing to do with anybody else. I don't need anybody else to access that. My relationship is between me and God, just like how anybody else's relationship should be between them and God. I'm not a religious person. Again, I'm not a preacher. I'm not a pastor. I didn't come on here to preach. I don't even know where this is coming from, but it needed to be said. It needed to be said because there's really some things that I'm seeing and I'm witnessing, and I'm things that are becoming apparent to me that I'm just like, oh my goodness, like I really, and it's crazy because it comes, I come so close to I come so close to getting pulled into certain things that I don't understand, that can be so dangerous, that if I didn't get the clarity that I needed from the Lord, I would be messed up. I would truly be messed up. Hey, what's up, y'all? And this is funny. It's on Saturday, on Sabbath, when this is coming through. It's just, I just gotta take a deep breath, man. I just witnessed some stuff that I'm appalled right now. I'm not even judging it because I myself almost got pulled into it. It made me realize how weak I am, how much I really need God. We need God. Don't ever think you don't need God. Don't ever think you don't need help. We all need help. Don't ever think you don't need help. When you think you don't need help, you already lost. When you start to thinking you can do things on your own, or that's when you've already lost. We are not, if we were truly as powerful as we claim to be, the people that we are, if we were truly as powerful as we claim to be, this world would not be the way that it is. Because it is the people that are in power that are the reason for why the world the way that it is. Not God. People love to, those that don't believe love to try to say, oh, uh um if God is real, why is the world like this? Because of man, because of people, because of other human beings who are thinking that they are bigger than the program, bro. Because of other people who are thinking that they are God and they're not. Because of people who abuse their power. Because of people who abuse what was given to them. We got to get on track. It's too much confusion. It's too this is some these are some perilous times we are living in right now. Some perilous times, and it's really easy to get lost right now. It's so easy to get lost. What good is knowledge if you don't apply it? Wisdom is the application of knowledge, because you can know a lot of stuff. You can know many things. You can have many skills. You can have many gifts. You can have all these different things that aren't tangible, priceless. But what good is it if you're not applying it? You're not using it. You're not using it the right way. What good is it? Again, I'm not trying to preach. I don't know where all this is coming from. It's just I had to say this, you know. I'm not gonna get into detail of what I witnessed, but it's just some things that I'm just like, wow. I'm just like, wow. We really are in some perilous times. And again, I'm not saying that from a place of judgment, because I can't judge. Because I myself, again, like I said, I myself almost got pulled into that. And so, I almost let my flesh, I almost let my ignorance pull me into something foolish, all because of my want for, mind you, now my intentions are pure. I mean well. I know what I want. Sometimes what you want is not what you need. And that's real cheesy to say, but it's the truth. Sometimes you got to sacrifice what you want for what you need. No matter how bad you may want something, that don't mean that you supposed to have it. I almost let my want pull me into some chaos. Right in the midst of a time in my life where I don't need that. In a time in my life where I need peace the most. And I thank God for it, because He's using this chaos to mold me, to shape me, to refocus me. The path isn't going to be all straight and narrow and and easy and smooth. It's gonna be bumpy. It's gonna be rocky. It's gonna be some valleys. It's gonna be some bad weather. It's gonna be some chaos. It's gonna be some craziness, and it's gonna be that because it's not supposed to be that. That's not how you're gonna get stronger. When you go to work out, you don't feel good all the time. When you go to work out, it's gonna be painful. But that's how you get those gains when you're lifting those weights and you're pushing your body past limits. You're going to go through some pain to get to that gain. And I'm at a point in my life where I understand that, but that don't mean it's easier. We all want to get closer to God. Well, I won't say all of us, but you talk about getting closer to God. Sometimes in order to get closer to God, you're going to have to you may get pulled farther from him just to get closer to him, like a bow and arrow. When you pull an arrow back, you're pulling it farther from its target just to reach it. So it's the same thing with getting closer to God. Sometimes to get closer to God, we got to be at a point where we're at our lowest, where it feels like we're the farthest from him, but that's exactly where he's with us. When he was with those Hebrew boys in the fire, the furnace, he was in the fire with them. Even in those moments, he was with them. So I don't know who I'm talking to, if I'm encouraging anybody or anything like that. I hope I am, but I'm encouraging myself more than anything. I can't afford to get lost right now. I can't afford to be pulled. If I'm gonna be pulled, if it's gonna feel like I'm being pulled from God, it's gonna have to be to get closer to him. That's gonna have to be the goal, is to be brought closer to him. We gotta be careful not to lose sight of what we ask for, because you just might get it. People pray for patience. You pray for patience, but what people aren't prepared for what it takes to get that patience. In order to get that patience, sometimes you got to go through things that test that very thing, that very patience that you claim that you want. You people pray for patience. You may have to be in some situations where you got to wait. You may have to be in some situations where that's the whole point. That resistance, that resistance to the very thing that you want is oftentimes the key to get there. Pray to get closer to God. Well, you know what it means to not be close to God. So maybe that's why you got to go through certain things that feels far from God, because so you can know what is not God and what is. What's up, Nika? That's what I'm learning. I'm starting to learn more and more the patterns of how God works, his power. I may not understand it completely. I may be confused. I may not see the full picture, but by his grace, I gain wisdom. By his grace, I'm getting wisdom and doing my best to apply that very thing, that wisdom. So I just had to come on here and say that. Again, I don't really know where this came from. Um, Somebody needed to hear this though. I know I needed to hear it. I needed to hear this wisdom from God, because I don't know what or where things were just about to go just now, but I'm just glad it didn't go that way. That's all I gotta say is I'm glad. Sometimes the detour is necessary. It's just like in traffic when they're doing construction on certain roads and you can't go certain ways. Sometimes you have to detour. Sometimes you have to go another way. Sometimes you got to go the only way that could be available. And that way is maybe not the most traveled. One thing I've learned on this path is you got to go the roads least traveled sometimes. God is very intelligent. God is very smart. He uses the least. Like I said, he uses the least to get the most. He'll use those that are seen as the least, use those who are seen as less than, use those who are seen as the least likely, incapable to do the most. Same with pathways. He'll use the roads less traveled. He'll use the most inconvenient ways. He'll use the most unpopular ways, ways that are maybe not popular, ways that people may look at you like you crazy. Noah, for example. You know how the people thought it's funny it just rained a little bit earlier. People thought Noah was so crazy for feeling the way that he felt when God told him what he told him. They thought Noah was crazy. I'd rather be crazy than dead because that's what happened, right? Those same people who was talking about Noah was crazy ended up dead, didn't they? Because they didn't survive. They didn't listen. They didn't make it. So sometimes when you have to follow God, you're going to look crazy to people. You're going to sound crazy to people. You're going to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. I'd rather be crazy. At least you'll be alive. At least you'll have another chance to try again, to keep going, to keep moving forward, to get better, to do better. I'm not saying I know everything, because I don't. I'm not saying I got it all figured out, because I don't. I just know from my experiences, I know God is real. I know that. I can't say God ain't real. I done been through too much. I done survived too many things. And, maybe I had to go through certain things in order to really know him. That is as much as it was painful to go through the things I've been through, I probably wouldn't know God if I didn't go through those things. I wouldn't know about his power. I wouldn't know about how real he really is. And I can only pray and hope that others maybe not go through the same experiences as me, but I can only hope that others know him for themselves, truly know him. That is not a facade. That is not an illusion. That is not for fake, not that they're not pump faking, because it's real. And times is getting harder and harder and it's getting crazier and crazier out here. You better know God. You better know God. In these times that we living in, you better know God. It's not a threat, it's a warning. It's times when I think back to the stuff that I went through and I'm just like, Man, like, I hate I went through it. I get emotional about it. I think about where I would want to be in my life. But I'm right exactly where God wants me to be. Yeah, I probably would be in a certain place in my life if I didn't go through certain things, or I'd have a certain amount of money, or I'd have certain people in my life. But would I be closer to God though? Would I have the wisdom that God instilled in me though? Would I know what I know now? No, probably not. It may seem like my life would be better, but who's to say that? I can't say that. My life could probably be worse. My soul would be worse. My soul would be worse off because I would be lacking that spiritual growth. I would be lacking the spiritual gains that I gained through going through the experiences I went through. So remember that when you going through what you're going through, as much as it's hard, there's an intangible gain. There's an intangible reward at the end of whatever you're going through. That could be hard to say because some people could go through things like sickness and illness and disease, and you may lose a loved one. You may lose I done been through it all. I done lost everything. I done gained it all back and lost it again. And gained it all back and lost it again. I don't look nothing like what I've been. I tell you, I done been through homelessness. I done been through it all. Maybe not death. I'm still here. I ain't been through death yet. I done been through a lot. And I don't know if people misunderstand how I look and think that because of how I look that I have experience in this life. I'm 28, but I feel like I'm 80. I really do. Just because of the things that I've been through in my life. I haven't been what I've been through, most people my age, and even when I was younger, most people my age when I was younger or now have not went through the things that I have been through. They couldn't imagine. That's why I feel like my path, my path is not everybody's path. Your path is not everybody's path. We have got to get out of this habit of comparing our lives to other people. Even God says in his word not to covet, not to be jealous, not to envy other people, especially evil. Don't envy evil. Don't envy wickedness. Because when it seems like the wicked is winning, if you start to envy wickedness or those who are wicked because you see what they have and not who they are, or what they do, you have lost. You are lost. Because just because it seems like their life is better, or they're getting away with something, or that's how the enemy tries to pull you into doing wickedness. Oh, well, they did this, and that, and I did the right thing, and it's all going downhill for me. No, no. I don't care how hard it is. Don't lose your integrity. Don't lose sight of what's real. Because when you do, you get pulled into doing the will of the enemy instead of God. Okay? Like I said, I'm not trying to preach. I'm going to end it right here, y'all. I thank you for those who joined. I thank you for those who came into the live and liked it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Um, Maybe we'll have more conversations like this. I mean, I used to have a channel where I had, my spiritual talks or what have you. And maybe God is doing something new with this platform because it has grown. I've gotten a lot of subscribers and a lot of people that have come over here, and I'm just growing it more and more, trying to do my music, but maybe this is also necessary and needed. But yeah, I'm gonna end it right here, y'all. Thank you for joining. Join the community, join the channel, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.